Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Sorry about that. I pressed the wrong button and then something happened. I'm going to jump right in. We are going to do 4 questions today. I'm going to try my best to finish, but just before I start, I'm sure everyone agrees this is where we can score marks, and most of you will have enough time to prepare for it, so please do your best. Do as many exam papers as possible. Keep on practicing. We're starting with from the Eastern Cape June 2021 paper. It is matching concepts of inventory, and I'm going to just go from left to right. Just give me a second here. Guys, I've done something funny with my computer now. I can't increase or decrease the size. So you can see there's something funny going on. Just give me a second. I'm just going to see if I minimize here, if it makes any difference. I seem to have 2 screens going on here, and I am going to have to try something else. Let me try again. Okay, autofocus. There we go. Okay, now I can increase the size, and I'm going to go from left to right. Okay. We have a 45-minute question. My clock says 11:11. 45 minutes later will be 11:56. Matching concepts. I always read the right first. Cost price minus accumulated depreciation is carrying value. So question 3 relates to fixed assets, and the answer is A. Stock valuation method, not system, method, used for similar goods of low value is weighted average. So number 2 is B. The key words, it's a method. So it's sim, FIFO, or weighted average. And then the other keyword, similar low value. Stock valuation method used for expensive, diverse goods. Now the keywords here, expensive, diverse, would be sim. So question 1 is C. Next, notice I've been saying method. Now I'm saying system. It's actually, according to me, it should be method, because when we want the oldest one sold first, it is FIFO, so I don't agree with system. I'll explain now. So the stock valuation method for oldest sold first is FIFO, so it's 4D. Please make a note somewhere that system refers to periodic, or, that's an O, or perpetual, and the other name for perpetual system is obviously continuous. Okay, so we've got 3 valuation methods. They are FIFO, sim, weighted average, and we've got 2 stock bookkeeping systems, and they are periodic and perpetual. Question 2.2. You provided with information for champion traders. You need to know it's rugby jerseys that we are selling and rugby balls. Then they can use two methods, valuation methods. The system is periodic. It will always be periodic when we do inventory valuation. Look at the marks, please. It's 4 marks for the closing stock for rugby jerseys, then 5 marks for cost of sales of jerseys, then markup percentage jerseys, and then over here we get to rugby balls. In this case, it might not be a bad thing to please highlight in a certain color when you talk about rugby jerseys and in a different color when we talk about rugby balls. Please don't take the wrong information. I need to turn the page for the information for rugby jerseys. So that's what I'm going to highlight in green. Jerseys will be FIFO. Right, let me just close my highlighter. Okay, let's see. How many rugby jerseys do we have at the end of the year? Now, normally they tell you, look at the financial year. It's an interesting year. It goes from 1 June 19, I normally write 1 June, to 31 May 2020. Okay, then, because this time they don't tell me that, you take your calculator, you work out yourself. It's on the screen, the calculator. I'm going to just tick as I go along. We have I apologize, my mistake. There they tell me. I looked at price per unit, I apologize. We have thousands. Okay, so if I have 1,000 rugby jerseys, then I'm going to do FIFO like this. I always start at the bottom. If you have 1,000 jerseys, you want to know from which month. The last lot that were bought in March, 1,000 of them, but you always look for returns. Please remember, bottom up. Stock returned, faulty stock, 12 rugby jerseys returned on 24 March. It's always related to the last purchase before that. So if that was March, it is those ones that we returned 12 of. Again, rugby jerseys we are doing in green. Okay, so now I write here. I can use the margin if I want. So I'm writing of the 1,000, 12 were returned. That gives me 988. So I have 988 of, I have as always my ruler close by. I like to use the ruler to not take the wrong info. They were bought at 500 Rand each, so times 500. If you work backwards, therefore, how many other slightly older jerseys do we have? It's 1,000 minus 988. Therefore, 12. I'll repeat, it's 1,000. This is a bit confusing. It's not this return. Interesting. The 1,000 I have without the 988 from March. It is the ones bought in December. And those other 12 is the balancing figure here. And they were bought at, I'm moving my ruler up, they were bought at 490 each. Tick off the information as you use it. And then it's very easy, just multiply. This I'll do as fast as possible because this we can all do. And please just anyone tell me if you disagree because I am making a human mistake. Plus 5880, my answer is 499880, 4 marks. Next, still jerseys. Calculate the cost of sales for rugby jerseys. Periodic system, cost of sales is opening stock, purchases, returns. You can do it together or separate, but please return in brackets. I have now already seen that there's no carriage or customs, but in the margin, carriage on purchases and customs duty must be added in a different question. And then I've just calculated my closing stock. And I will put that 499880 there. And that is how I work cost of sales. You will see the memos. Don't do it like me. They just put the amounts next to one another. Let me show you. Like that. I don't like to do it like that. I like to do it in the format that I've learned already in grade 11. Opening stock, purchases, minus returns, plus carriage, plus customs, less closing stock. Right, let's find the opening stock. My ruler is here on the left. I'm ticking off 1 June 19, the value of the opening stock, 528,000. I'm taking the purchases total, it's given, there we go, 1,358,000. And I'm taking the value of the returns. 12 of the 500 Rand jerseys were returned. That will give me 6,000 Rand. So my returns, you're also welcome to do in this space over here. 12 times 500 equals 6,000 Rand returns. There we go, as easy as that. Calculate 528,000 plus 1,358,000 minus 6,000 minus 499,880. That gives me 1380120. I repeat that was that 4 marks? Next question. Calculate the markup percentage on, that was 5 marks, 4 marks, 5 marks, 4 marks. Markup percentage on rugby jerseys. Now, I know that markup percentage, according to my formula sheet and my knowledge since grade 8, please remember you're going to use your formula sheet again, that it is actually gross profit on cost price as a percentage. Now, I have the sales somewhere. Let's go find the sales. Here we go. You know what? One must never make the mistake of going too fast. Do you see here it says delivery fees. Now, delivery fees is carriage on purchases for rugby jerseys are included. So I did not make a mistake. It is included. But I've noticed now, and I'll come back to that later, that the carriage on purchases, same thing as delivery to us, for rugby balls are separate. So let's not forget that later on. But I'm looking for sales. So there's my sales figure. Gross profit is sales minus cost of sales, which we just worked out. Remember, cost of sales, 1380120. So there's my sales minus my cost of sales, which is gross profit. Sales minus cost of sales over the cost of sales. So it's gross profit on cost as a percentage. Sorry, that's a 2. Let's calculate. 2271, 200 minus 1380120 divided by 1380120 as a percentage. I get, according to them, a wrong answer. So I'm going to just look at the memo quickly. I'm going to quickly redo my sum. 2271,200 minus 1380120 equals. Guys, am I on the right question? I think I'm looking at the wrong thing here. Can you just give me a second? I put my memos down somewhere for me and now I've made, okay, I wasn't wrong. Sorry, I messed up my memos. I shouldn't have looked at that. My first answer was right. I'm sure by now you all also have 64,6%, which you can't see. Let me move my paper. It's 64,6%. Question 2.2.4 is on the next page, but remember, we don't read our questions here. We read them on the question paper. So my question paper says, for 8 marks, no, for 4 marks, how many months will it take to sell the rugby jerseys? Formula sheet, formula sheet. Anyone has it there close by? Please look at it. Otherwise, you have to know that we normally use days. If we want it in months, you just times by 12, not by 365. So here is my question 2.2.4. The formula is, in this case, the closing stock, not the average stock. So it's the closing stock over the cost of sales times 12. Now we worked out the value of the closing stock already in question 1. So please go find that. The answer was 499,880. So 499,880 from question 2.2.1, you'll get a work with mark. So you can't skip questions because then you don't have something to work with. Over cost of sales we worked out in question 2.2.2. So go back to your previous page. Our cost of sales was 1380120. And I want it in months. Let's work that out. Everything please to one decimal. 499880 times 12 divided by 1380120. I get 4.4 months. They get 4.2. I have to check my memo quickly. 499880 times 12 divided by 1380120 equals. Now I'm sticking with my answer. So if you look at the memo, the teacher or somebody who has the memo there, I get 4.4 months. And the memo I see now, I only printed the memos this morning just to be sure that I don't give you wrong answers. It's 4,4, question 2.2.4, one decimal. The next question, if you go back to your instructions over here, notice when something is 8 marks, okay? Because that means more work must be done. Calculate the value of closing stock. We're now moving on to rugby balls. So in other words, if I turn my sheet, I'll just highlight it for you there in orange. Rugby balls work with a weighted average system. There's information there. Okay, I don't like to use highlighters because it takes time and in the end it's too many colors. But this is one place where I think it could be a good idea. When they tell me closing stock value weighted average, I draw a division line. If you remember, for FIFO, this is how we do it. Also, the memo do it slightly differently. You start with the number of rugby jerseys for FIFO at the bottom and you work back up, newest back to older. When you get to the weighted average method, you draw a division line. The formula is total cost, I'm just writing it here, total cost divided by total units. But then I'm just going to get a price per unit. Then I must still end by the number of rugby balls. And if you look at this, closing stock on the 31st of May, please notice 1 June is opening stock and this is closing stock. So 120 balls at the previous times the previous per unit answer. Let's do this. Total cost at the top would be, I'm taking my ruler again to not pick the wrong amounts, a value of 45,000 Rand, I'm tick it off, divided by the number of units at the start, 300. Then I add the total purchases down here, 1,145,000, divided, and at the bottom, the number of units bought, 6,500. Then I'm looking for carriage, customs, and returns. First thing I see, 15 rugby balls were returned. So in other words, my line needs to be a bit longer, I see. I'm going to minus the 15 returned, and I'm going to minus their cost. The 15 in brackets balls cost, if they were the balls returned on 23 December, they are sum of December, those ones. You see, the balls bought on the 19th of December cost 180 each, and they were returned 4 days later. So I minus 15 of the 180 Rand each balls. I have minused it at the bottom. Now I mustn't forget, I'm always going to look out for carriage or customs, and this is another cost which goes at the top, plus 61,140, and now you can see why it's an 8-mark question, where the previous question was also a 4-mark question. Okay, I have to do that long sum at the top. Let's do that. I prefer to give a subtotal. So let's do the top one. Don't forget the brackets there. Right, I typed wrong. 61140. Okay, my subtotal is, if I'm right, 1253840. My subtotal at the bottom, 300 plus 6500 minus the 15 returned. When you get your answer here, per unit, it has to be somewhere in the range of amounts given here. It has to be somewhere between 150 and 190 Rand plus per unit the carriage. So let's see what I get. You must be done by now, I suppose. It is between somewhere in the middle. So I take 184, comma, if I round it to the nearest cent, I get 80 cents. So now I'm taking 184, 80 cents for one rugby ball times 120. So the value I get is 22176. And please give me a second to actually just make sure that I'm not giving you wrong answers. So I'm just turning my memo page to look at that. They get something different. So again, I'm going to have to see what I did wrong. Let's compare the memo with my answer. Let's see what I did wrong there. Okay, 45,1145, 300 plus 6,500, minus 15, plus 61140. 15 times 180 equals 2,700. This is, according to them, wrong. Can I just please recalculate that? So I'll just show you. It seems my subtotal is wrong. I don't work with a scientific calculator, so I'm going to go 15 times 180 first. That's the 2,700. I must have plussed instead of minused. That's the minus. Then I'm going to say plus 45,000 plus 1,145,000 and plus 61140. Yes, I plussed instead of minus. The subtotal is 1,248,440, and I'll get a different answer and a different answer. Because you guys are working with pencil, you won't make a mess like I am. You'll be erasing. Please write with a dark, sharp pencil. 1,248,440 divided by 6,785 gives me a per unit value of exactly 184. Hopefully I'll be correct now. 184 times 120. Yes. So the correct answer is 22080. But you'll see on the memo, even if you make a silly mistake like that, you will lose that mark there, and I think that's it. You'll still get 7 out of 8 because everything else is work with. So just finish the questions. Next, I'm going to put the memo back somewhere there. Look at the next question, not on the question paper, but on the, not on the answer book, on the question paper. For 5 marks, we've done all of the rest. Calculate the number of rugby balls missing at the end of the year. So we believe them. Next page. Well, we have to believe them because they did a physical stock count, but we haven't checked if that's what they were supposed to have. So this is a lovely, easy question. Write down on your answer page the following. We started with 300 plus we bought 6,500 minus we returned 15 minus we sold 660, and that means this is what I'm supposed to have. There's my calculation. I'm just, while you do that, checking. My phone's going crazy if it's not the department telling me I must do something different. It was just people that said that they are busy with the virtual watching the lesson, so that's good. 300 opening stock plus 6,500 bought minus 15 returned minus 660 sold tells me I'm supposed to have 125. Therefore, 125 minus what I actually have means 5 balls missing. Nice, easy, 4 marks. That was our first question done. If I look at the time, it is now 11. Is that possible? It feels like I didn't do everything. I'm just going to double check if it's actually the whole question. 2.1, 2.2, 58 marks. It could be. I just want to check something quickly because I like to not tell you the wrong information. 4, 8, 13, 17, 21, 29, 34, not 58. So what this means is in the actual question, in the actual June question, there was actually more, but we're not picking that to do today. Okay, so maybe I have not worked fast enough, but the point is we've used till 11:36, we've used, let's see, we've used 25 minutes on this question. Moving on, I'm putting this down here on the floor. I'm putting the question back on the floor, and we are now on our second question. Our second question, you'll see here, is from Eastern Cape, September 2021. I've just stapled them separately. Give me a second to get ready for that, please. I just need to see where my memo is, so just give me a second. Previous one was Eastern Cape June. This is now Eastern Cape September, and it's on inventory valuation again. So I'm almost ready. Yes, now I'm ready. So this question paper as it says there, is Eastern Cape September 21. My answer page starts down here. This time I want to make sure it's the whole question. If we just add up the marks. Yes. This is the full question as it appeared in that paper. And also, this is a 25-minute question. So I'm going to start. I'm just going to separate my pages. I'm going to start here at the bottom. There's your answer page. The time is 11:38. If I take 25 minutes, let me see, that's 22. It should be 12:03. Let's see if we can do that. I read my information first. So let's all read that. You can do that yourselves, but just for anyone that maybe can't see it properly. On Time Watches, Pty Limited. What does Pty mean? It's a private company, just for extra information. 2 shareholders, Lizzie and Patsy. They're obviously family. The business sells watches. Periodic is used, and FIFO. The financial year end is 30 June 20, so it obviously started on the 1st of July 19. The business sold one type of watch, XS Sports, in the past. Even though they were selling well, she felt that it was not earning enough profit. Then she convinced Patsy that importing the Euroclocks watches from overseas would be a good solution. Calculate the following for the new watches on 30 June 20 using FIFO. Now, do you remember, I hope, how I said for 5 marks we do FIFO? You start at the bottom of your page there with a number when it's FIFO. Then you go look for the information on the next page, which is up here. This is the new watch that they imported. And we have got opening stock over there and closing stock down here. So we have 270 watches. So I'm writing down 270, like I told you, at the bottom. And now I'm going to work back up. What's the latest purchase of watches? You don't work from the top down, you work from the bottom up. I bought on the 15th of May 250 watches, but I'm looking for returns. I returned 90 of them. These two are related. So what do I do here? I'm using my margin. I prefer to do that to show that 250 minus 90 equals 160. That's the watches bought on 15 May. What were they bought at? I'll get that later. I work back up. What is this? You say the 270 minus the 160 means I have another 90 watches. I just want to warn you, this can be very confusing. Same as the previous one, there's two 90s. It's not the same 90. I don't like it that they do that. Don't be confused with that. These are the returns from the 15th of May. Those are the ones bought there on the 25th of March. So I've used them. Now I'm going to use them. So on the ones bought 25 March cost us 2,000 Rand each, and the previous ones 2,400. So let's see what I'm doing down here. I'm saying the latest ones cost 2,400 each, and the older ones in March cost 2,000 each. Make 100% sure that there isn't carriage or customs. I was thinking they'll give us customs because these watches are imported. Like they said, we started importing. The older exam papers and the ones I'm also used to always had carriage and customs. So please watch out for that. But I don't see anything, so we can get our answer. And remember, it's just 5 marks. Equals, equals. Let's calculate. Okay, what happens every now and then is the cable gets touched and then the screen goes blank. Let's go. 90 times 2,000. I'm sure the fast ones amongst you have done this already. 180,000. I must just make it a bit bigger for you guys. Then 160 times 2,400. 384,000. Adding up. I can just as well write the answer down only once over there. So 564, oh my word, guys. Again, it seems I made a mistake. Can I try again? I wonder if there was a comment somewhere. If somebody saw my mistake. Yo. Can I just try to fix my mistake over here? If this was exam, I would have lost marks, but I would have had a work with mark for that, and I would have had a work with mark for that. So I would have lost 1 mark for this. So 4 out of 5, but still it's not acceptable if the tutor makes a mistake. Do you see what I did here? I don't know what I was thinking. Also, I didn't use my calculator. 270 minus 160 is 110. And 110 times 2,000 equals 220,000 rand. And that plus 384,000 equals 604,000 rand. Apologies for that. Moving on. The next question is stock. There we go again, same as before. Stock holding period. Let's take note. Now it's days, not months. Also, not average stock. Remember, they could have asked average stock because I do have the opening and the closing stock available, but they just want the closing stock. Also, it's just 3 marks. So in that case, it must go fast. We just calculated the closing stock. It's on this page at the bottom. It's 604,000 rand closing stock. Over the cost of sales. Now, if I had to calculate it myself, it would have, like in the previous question, it would have been a separate question, more marks. If it's just 3 marks, I know they're going to help me. There's cost of sales done for me. Divide by 4033,100. They ask in days, so you can't do months now. And there's your calculation. So 604,000 times 365 divided by 4033,100. Your answer is 54, 1 decimal, comma 7, and the answer is in days. Right. Question read on the question paper, not the answer book. So we have to go here and say I'm now on percentage markup on cost. So again, we just did it in the previous question. It should be very easy now. Markup is gross profit on cost price or cost of sales. The gross profit I can get always by saying sales minus cost of sales, and then I'll just put it on the cost of sales. These figures are all given, they're down here. Now I'm going to use the sales as well. Sales, cost of sales. So what is, I've wasted a bit of space here. What is 5913 sales minus 4033,100 cost of sales divided by the cost of sales in days? Oh my word. In a percentage, you'll see my brain is slightly tired today, and I'm sure yours are too. But take a break every now and then, sit down, work through exam papers, and you'll do very well in paper 2. Most people do much better in paper 2. Times 100 divided by 4033,100 gives me 46,6%. That was just the 3-mark question, I think, or that one. Right, what's my next question? Yeah, 3 marks. Patsy was still not convinced about the decision to import the Euro clocks but watches. But it appears that Lizzie's decision was beneficial to the business. In each case below, quote figures. So we're now trying to convince Patsy that it was a good decision. The first question is compare the markup percentage achieved on each model and comment how it affected the sales and the profitability. This is an Eastern Cape paper. I expect in your paper, when they ask so many different things like 2 models and how did it affect 2 different things, they would actually not just give you a blank space like there, but they'll give you, more information like the models. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to say the 2 models. It's the Euro clocks, and what's my other model? The XS sports model. So firstly, I'm going to just quote from the question mark. The markup percentage was 75% on the first one. I mean on the old local watch, and we just calculated 46.6% on the new imported watch. So although the markup is lower, we're now going to comment on the sales. So now I'm going to say the sales for Euro clocks compared to XS. Right, let's look at the sales. The sales figures are, actually, you know what? Can I try rather to show you on the, because we'll save time that way, the way the memo is set up. I think it will be easier. As it is, wait, just 4 marks. Let's see what's the minimum you could have said. I'll underline. The markup on this one is 46.6. It's lower than the markup of the other one, 75. Okay, so if you now mention the gross profit per watch, because profitability leads to gross profit, and then it's 858 for the one compared to 240 for the other one. And the unit cost, now where do we get all this information? We get the unit costs over here. They tell me the selling price and the average cost price and the average gross profit. So we use this. That is the 858 and 240 that I use. So I'll just repeat. If they ask about profitability, we can say what the gross profit of each watch was. Then the Euro clocks, they keep on spelling it differently. The Euro clocks with an O has a lower sales volume. You only sold that amount compared to the other one, but the gross profit is significantly higher. And for figures, we get 2 marks, and for markup percentage and sales. So for profitability, we use markup percentage. If this is a bit confusing and you think too much information and maybe I was talking a little bit confusing, then just let me highlight for you. They wanted you to comment on the profitability, so we use that. That's profitability. They wanted you to comment on the sales, so we use the selling price and we use the sales figures. And that means that the gross profit on the new watches were much more, which means this should convince the other member of the shareholder that this is the better, that it is a good idea to sell these Euro clocks models. Our next question, let's see, our next question is four marks again. Compare the stock holding period for each model and the demand and comment how it affected the management. Right, you remember we did the stock holding period and we got 54.7 days. So 54.7 days can now be compared to the other model, just like we compared the 46.6% to the other model. So you see, sometimes it does help to write your answers in on your question paper because then it's much clearer. So if they ask me about the stock holding period, firstly, I'm going to use that line. Let's see how the memo puts it. You mentioned stock holding period. You don't get a mark for that because they asked that. You say, you don't have to say all of this. You can say Euro clocks 54.7 days and X exports 120 days. So I'm just going to write this model 54.7 days and that model 120 days. Okay, the comment would be the new watch is selling faster than the old watch. Okay, so you get for the figures a mark each, and you get for the comment a mark each. So the other choice you have when it comes to management or demand, they said any two, although it looks like we have to mention three things: stock holding and demand and management. So let's just look at demand. That's easy. The demand for watches, there's only 270 units left, where with this it's a lot more. So that means the expensive watch, Euro clocks, is more popular. Or you could have said the management, because there's a low demand, there's a higher stock, so it was badly managed. Okay, but I think the first two is what I would prefer. Our next question, Lizzie is interested in finding out if the weighted average method of valuing the clocks will result in a significantly different stock value. So now we're going to see if we use a different method, what the difference will be. Do you remember what I said from our previous question? I'm going to just go to 3.3. When it's weighted average, we draw a division sum. So now we're going to use that. The moment you read weighted, you say, okay, division sum. And you're going to take, like we always do, opening stock plus purchases minus returns, etc. So let's make it smaller so you can see both at the same time. The watches had an opening stock of above the line 323,100, number below the line 200. You add the purchases, tick off what you've used. 4,853,100. The number is 2,550. You minus, that's where I made my mistake earlier, you minus the returns, 90. And actually, I think I worked out the returns on the other page, but I'll just work it out now again. No, I didn't. It's 90 of the May watches, and the May watches were bought at 2,400 each. And 90 times 2,400 each equals a return of 216,000 Rand, and there was nothing else. So this is therefore going to give me my average cost per unit So subtotal 323,100 plus 485,3,100 minus 216,000. I have 4,960,200. Subtotal below the line equals 2,660. Why do they have a different answer? They've already subtracted the 90, guys. Give me a chance here. They didn't take the... Oh, the opening stock is included. People, I apologize again. Yo, I'm not ending on top, am I? Okay. What's different here? There's no opening stock. Why did I see that as opening stock? Because I'm not concentrating. So please be fresh and rested when you go write your exam. It's not opening stock. It's a purchase. They were not in stock when we started. I hope nobody blames me too much for this. Can I just show you again? All of the things you see there are purchases. There was no opening stock. So I duplicated something. I must only start with the 485,3,100, which is 2,550 units. I bought the new watches and I returned. I bought them and I returned, which means my subtotal is 485,3,100 minus 216,000. 463,7,100 divided by 2,550 minus the 90 returned. Then the answer, not yet the answer, but the unit price is 1,885 per unit. So therefore, 270 watches, just like before, but at a different valuation. This is weighted average. Gives you 508,950. Let's compare. The valuation for weighted average is 508,950. The valuation earlier on first in, first out. Why can't I find it now? Did I put my page on the floor or what did I do? Oh, it's here at the bottom left. There we go. The valuation was 604,450. So if we compare, let's just make it small quickly so you can see both answers. The valuation is 604,450 and 508,950 for weighted average. So weighted average gives me the lower value. And now you must see if you understand the following. I'm going to write it down so to try and see if you can understand. For FIFO, if the closing stock is higher, then the ones you sold, the old ones, were the cheaper ones. So cost of sales were lower. And if the cost of what I sell is lower, but I sell them at a fixed price, then the gross profit will be higher. For weighted average, the closing stock, as you can see, is lower because we take an average, which means on average, the cost of sales that I use is higher. Therefore, the gross profit in my books will be lower. And this means that it looks like this guy wants to manipulate the figures. And that's why it would not be appropriate for her to use the weighted average. Is explain why it would not be appropriate for her to use the weighted average for the new watches in future. State 2 points. The moment you are asked to state 2 points, you go and you bullet your answer place 1, 2, so that the person marking can clearly see what you wrote. Now, firstly, FIFO is always best because it shows a realistic price or value. That means that if the prices went 1615, 1700, 900, 2000, 2400, and prices keep on going up, then you want to show the value at the most recent cost price. It's realistic. So in other words, that would always be my first comment. Also, the reason is inflation means the prices go up. The second one is that, let me show you your options and you can choose which one you choose, because I'm not quite sure which one I prefer. We use the first one. Your options are: the closing stock will be valued at the most recent prices. It's a true reflection of the value reported on the financial statements. It's a bit close to the first answer. Generally, expensive items not purchased in bulk or at regular intervals, weighted average is more suited to cheaper goods. I think I'm going to use that one. I don't want to go into tax implications, because if you change your methods to save tax, it could look like tax evasion or trying to pay less tax illegally. Public image also, I think this looks like manipulations. I don't like these two, but you're welcome to read through them. So I'm going to say watches are expensive, so it's better suited to FIFO. The kind of product we have, FIFO is just much better for it. Also watches, because of fashion and technology changes over time. Therefore, you have to try FIFO, where you sell the first ones, the oldest ones first. That is the end of our second question. Take a quick break while I get ready for the third one. I'm almost ready. I just want to get some water. You'll see this one comes from Eastern Cape, September 21, and it's a budget question. So we've done stock valuation now. Now we're doing budgeting. Please don't forget that the recorded lessons that we started in, I think, 21 August, they're also on term 2 or paper 2 topics. So we've done many of them. So please go back to those recordings and the packet as well. Our time is 12:10. So if we're going to start this question at 12:10, And it's a 35-mark, 30-minute question. We should be done by 12:40. Okay? I just need a second to just make sure where my memo is for this one. It's not always easy to control all these pages on my table. Okay, I'm ready. I'll start with a bigger page there. You provided with information of fancy laptops, a business owned by, you need to know the name of the owner, and we sell laptops, and the budget period is December 20 to February 21. That's 3 months. You'll also see on the answer page where we are going to do a creditor's payment schedule, not a debtor's collection schedule. You must also be able to do, but a creditor's payment schedule. That's your December, January, February budget period, which is for the future. A budget is a plan for future payments and receipts. The business sells, there's an S missing there. Various types of laptop computers and does not sell on credit. Okay, well, that explains why it doesn't have debtors collection schedule. They don't have debtors, which is very good for cash flow, obviously. But they also repair items for a fee. Right, refer to information A and B, very important that you then notice that so that you go look specifically. Yes? Oh, somebody's microphone is on. Could you just switch that off unless you're asking me a question? Sorry, is the school microphone on? I'll ask again the Wallasdean School. Could you please switch off your microphone? Thank you. Okay, that shows us that they're not listening at all. I don't know where the teacher is. Wallasdean, could you please switch your microphone off? And has a number for the school, Wallasdean, please phone them up and tell them to switch off their microphone. I'm going to continue. I hope they stop now. They also repair these items for customers at a fee, complete the creditor's payment schedule for 7 marks. Okay. Thank you, Wallasdean. Now we can continue. The information is given to me here on the answer page. And then also on the next page, where they tell me about the markup, sales, etc. So firstly, on the answer page, we need the credit purchases. You'll see there that to be able to do that, we need the credit purchases. And if they give me the information here, and they give me the sales, then I can use the 75% markup to get the cost of sales. And remember, cost of sales is purchases. So I'm going to take the months I need. The first one I need is December. And remember, if your markup is 75% on cost, you'll take your sales times 100 over 175 to get the cost price. So I'll take these 3 months because I need them. December, January, February. Right. I don't have enough space there, so I'll just write small. 770,000 times 100. Oh, I don't have enough space. Over 175. Let's calculate. The sales for December times 100 over 175 gives me the purchases. But hang on, I must just confirm about cash and credit purchases. If all stock is bought on credit, then I'm happy that I can go on. That means there's no cash. I don't have to split this answer. Okay. I am going to use the margin rather because there isn't really enough space. Now I'm taking the January. Look at my calculator. I'm taking the January 560,000 times 100 over 175, 320. I'll just write it. Where shall I write it? I'll write it here. January was the sales of 560,000 times 100 over 175, which gave me the 320,000. And then I'll do February up there. February is 525,000, so type that in. 525,000 times 100 over 175, that's 300,000. Then I'll just quickly write it for you up there, so in case you watch the video again. February, I took the 525 sales, I times it by 100 over 175, which gave me 300,000 Rand. Okay, so now I'm ready to work out how I pay my creditors, but I also need to know what information is given. It says all stock is replaced in the month of sales. That's pretty standard. They always tell you that. It just means what you sell, you will purchase in the same month. Some creditors offer a discount for payments in the month of purchase, but they don't tell me the percentage. 50% is paid in the month to earn, oh, there we go, 10%. And 30% is settled 1 month later, and 20% 2 months later. So this works now just like a debtors collection schedule, except it's me paying my creditors. But here there isn't a chance for something like bad debts. I have to pay all of them, so it's the full amount. And then we go now and we see what has been filled in for us. December to December was the same month. We don't have to recalculate. I'm just saying it's 50% minus 10%. Please, this is not 40%. Let me just show you what they did there. They took the 440,000, if you want to type that on your calculator. You first work out 50%. There's your 50%. Now on that, you get 10% discount. I prefer to just go straight to the answer, which is times 90%, because if I get 10% discount, I pay 90%. And your answer is 198. I'll write the other ones down. I just want to show you how they got it. You can double check later. Then I pay 30% of my creditors 1 month later, obviously. Then that means the 440,000 times 30% must give us the answer they gave. So now February is 2 months after December. So December, same month. December, January, 1 month later. December, February, 2 months later. And that's the last people I pay, which is 20%. So you just take your amount there for 40,000 Rand times 20%, 88,000 Rand. Now, what happens here is, from January to December, that's not possible. You can't pay before you even bought. But January to January, which they did for us, was again like this one. There's no space. I hope your columns will be a bit bigger, your lines. And then from January to February, which I must now do, is 1 month later. That's 30%. Then here is the first time we're going to practice ourselves how to do from February to February, which is the same month, which is 50% of the purchases less 10%. Okay, so let's do this. The first one I must do is just below my green ruler, my January, 320,000 on the calculator times 30%, 96,000 Rand. And then now let's see if you do this correctly. You take your 300,000. I'm going to give you a second or two here. So start with 300,000 and work out 50% of that less 10%. Okay, let's give you a second or two. Everyone try that yourselves, please. You can work out 10%, then subtract, or just go to 90% after you've done 50%. Let's see. This is how I do it, but I'll write this one down afterwards. 300,000 times 50%. I use on my calculator the percentage sign, but I know you guys do it on your scientific calculators, whatever way you want, but the point is it's 150. Now, if on that I get 10% discount, I just say, well, that leaves me with 90%. The answer is 135,000 Rand, but I want to show you at the bottom of my page. You can either say 300,000 times 50%, which is 150. Then first get your answer. Then you can say, this is the long way, 150,000. What is 10% of that? That is 15,000 Rand, which is the discount. So I'll only pay 135,000 Rand. Or you can just go on from the 150,000. If you get 10% discount at a shop, you know that because I'm sure you've purchased something at a discount at some point, you only pay 90% because you subtract the 10%. Okay, that gives me the same answer. Let's move on. The answer here, if I just add up those three columns, it's the only three that I need to add up for a work with mark. Even if I do something wrong, I get the mark just for adding up, and it's 319,000 Rand. Okay. Budgeting is nice work, but I find it can be maybe a bit more difficult than for example, manufacturing. So let's see if you are going to practice enough of that. I hope so. Budgeting. The next question. 12 marks in total for 4 questions. Percentage increase in security costs. Percentage commission paid to salesperson. Water and electricity budgeted for December, and the loan repayment. Okay, let's see. This is from, take note, information C and D. Firstly, information C tells me nothing other than they are outsourced. Sorry, where's your pay? Oh, there. Outsourced from Keep Safe Guarding. So these are the security guards. I need to go to D, which is on the next page, to get the information. And I'm going to use security guards are paid or are budgeted to be paid 18,000 and then 28,500. Sorry, you can't see. Security are paid 18,000 and then they're going to get an increase. Now, the way to work out a percentage is to take the difference anywhere in accounting. When you want to get the percentage, it's the difference on the original. So let's see. I am going to pay them 28,500 from February. Before that, it was 18,000. That's an increase of whatever over the original, the previous month. I'll put a subtotal down for you. The new security amount minus the old amount is an increase of 10,500. That's a big increase over the 18,000 that they used to get as a percentage. So 10,500 times 100 divided by 18,000, that gives me 58,3%. Huge increase. Percentage commission paid to salespersons. First get the information. Sales commission. Salespersons are paid commission in the same month on sales only. They do not receive a fixed salary. Do they mean a percentage? Let's see what information I have. Because if you don't get a fixed percentage, obviously you get if you don't get an amount, fixed amount, you get it as a percentage of sales. And I have to look at information number, where's my question, sorry, at information C and D only. The extract shows me this. Oh, they want the, silly me. You can take you can't see. You can take any month. You can take December or January or February, as long as you have the sales for a specific month. And remember, we have the sales for those months. Let's pick December. So in December, they get 123,200. Write down your month that you chose so that the person marking can see what you were thinking. They get 123,200. Go find the sales for that month. And actually, that is in information A. So the information that we're using is not just C and D. It's also in A, because that's where I find the December sales. So what percentage is the commission they get on the sales? The percentage. So times 100, let's calculate. 123,200 times 100 divided by 770,000 Rand is 16%. Oops, I did not read my question properly. I will highlight to you what I did not read. I said pick any month. They said February. Luckily for us, it is 16%, but I cannot use these amounts. You would, however, have received your full 2 marks because it is the same percentage, but can you please erase and go look with me at the February amount? So in other words, commission for February commission to salespersons for February, 84,000. There we go. Let's replace our amounts. 84,000 for February. divided by the sales for February. Like I said, that's actually, as far as I know, in number A. So number A should have been mentioned as well. There's my sales, 525,000 for February, below the line, but we will still get the same answer. So at least we were lucky to get the 16%, but I didn't read my question properly. Next. Calculate the water and electricity budgeted for December. The information says that, so now I'm not going to miss this. There's a date there, there's a date there, there's a date there, and another one. Please don't miss that like I did. Let's see what they say here about water. We've done that and that. Water and electricity is the expected increase from 1 January is 24%, but they want December. And remember, anything that goes up by 24% becomes 124, right? Because 24% is the above the 100% of full amount. So let's see if they give me January and then we reverse back to December. That's exactly what they did. They give us January, but they ask us December. Like I said, if the water and electricity was a certain amount in December and it goes up by 24%, then this month is 124%. So we're going to reverse. Take your 18,600 for January. The rule, I've said it many times in the lessons, is times by what you want over what you have. We want the previous month, but we have the increased amount. And then you say, what is 18,600 times 100 over 124? That will give you 15,000 Rand. Oh, 15,000 Rand. Okay. The old water amount on the new water amount, and it went up. So if you start with a certain amount and they increase it, everything you start with is 100%. That's your starting point. And it goes to 124%. Next one. Calculate the loan repayment made on to be made. It's planned to be made. Now I know if they ask this, and they always do, they must just give me the interest rate and the period and the old month. Then I can see what's happening. Let's read. They're telling me that the interest was, I'm writing this down on my answer page, 9375, and then it's going to drop to 8125. Why will my interest drop? It will drop or be less, decrease because of that repayment. So I have all the information I need right there. If they also tell me 12,5% per annum per year. So the drop in interest, the save in interest is this amount. So I'm taking my 9375 minus 8125 to get a 1,250 save on interest. And the save on interest, remember I wrote the interest down, is because of the payment on the loan, which they want, times 12,5%, but for only 1 month. Okay? Some of you might find that a bit difficult. So please practice it until you understand it perfectly. I just want to put my ruler here so that that doesn't confuse you. Then I'm going to just move this up a bit, and I'll use the bottom space below this line to just continue. Right, in maths, you do the following. You keep the X on the one side. And then you say, I have on the other side the 1250. If you take something to the other side, they swap around. So now it's times 100 over 12,5. And then if it was 1 over 12, you swap it around, it becomes 12, and then you just calculate. So let's see, what is 1250 times 100 divided by 12.5 times 12? The answer is 120,000 Rand. So up there, I need to put my answer as 120,000 Rand. I'm going to draw a block around this because of time. I can't repeat what I just said, but you must please understand that the chances that they ask this slightly more difficult one is excellent. So you must practice this, please. Right, let's. I'm sure you're tired as well, but we have to battle through this to be able to have something to refer to when we sit at home and practice. Sorry about that. The internal auditor has noticed that packing material was 800 Rand overspent and consumables also overspent. So we budgeted a certain amount and then it was more than we expected. Comment on the control of packing material and consumables, quote figures and or calculations. Right, so firstly, I need my second page of the answer page. If they want me to write it down like this, they've already made space for me for packing material separate from consumables. And it's 6 marks in total, so 3 each, so it's not a big question. The information is number E, so I'm going to number E. And they like to do this, where they say budgeted, actual, budgeted, actual. They've already worked out for me that this one went up by 3.6 and up by 6.1. And remember, when you budget, you already planned for inflation, so it should not have gone up. And also, if you think about it, sales, for which we need the bags, boxes, and bubble wrap, which is the packing material, went down. So if it went down, there's no reason for packing material go up. So we're going to have to understand the following. If sales decreased, but packing material increased, something's wrong. When you mention the figures, sales went down 18.4%, but packing material went up 3.6%. So in other words, if I have to comment, I will say not well controlled. Right, that's your 3 marks. You have to understand the connection. Sorry about this machine of mine. Packing material is connected to sales. Now, consumable stores will be used, and that is something you have to understand. If you remember what we're doing, we repair computers. So that was something I might not myself have thought of immediately unless the information said so, that you have to understand that fee income must be looked at now. Oh, I see. They did lead us towards that because I will just enlarge this again. They did give fee income. So we were supposed to see that the more I sell, the more packing material. But if I sold less, there's a problem there. And then now we have to see when we repair computers, which is fee income. And the fee income, wow, look at that, went up 48%. So we managed to get many clients to bring their laptops in for repairs. Then it is not a problem if the things you need to repair your laptops, consumables, is 6.1% up. So in this case, it's good. So then you have to show fee income increased by 48.2%, where consumables only 6.1%, and that means well controlled. Okay? You cannot read here because we haven't read the original. Let's go to the original question, which says, refer to information D. During the coronavirus lockdown in April and May of last year, the business lost money because there were no sales. However, Ray had to continue making payments to keep the business afloat. Even paying salaries and wages. Now, information track. Now, they're not giving us wages. Let me just go back to the question. It happened in April and May of 2020. Okay. Year that I need, like April and May, they just told me, remember it's before the budget, that in April and May of 2020 there was lockdown. And why we do, he does not want to close down. He does, you can't see what I was writing. Once you close down your business and stop paying salaries and wages, it will be a bigger problem to start one day and to get new employees. I would have actually chosen the second answer rather. Look at the memo. I would have chosen this one. He's concerned about the survivors. He has loyalty towards them. I like this answer. You probably know people who was seriously affected because of lockdown, and hopefully they kept their jobs and he doesn't have loyalty from new people. Okay. Also, there could be legal issues. You can't just fire people. Then it says identify 2 more marks. One other payment in the list for information D that he would not have been able to stop and give a reason. Okay, let's see if we get something in the list. I would definitely use insurance as my answer, because if you stop your years of problems financially, your building burns down or they loot it, then what you can't claim. I'm afraid insurance that he would not have been able to stop and give a reason. Right. That could be anything from a fire or anything. He can still claim. I'll show you the memo. Insurance reduce risk, etc. So I think you understand security would be the biggest thing. I think the government actually, I think you might have been able to still go to your bank to say, please, I cannot pay my loan off, and then they would have given you a few months. But if you don't have security, break-ins are possible, so more possible. So I like this answer better, the insurance or the security. Identify one payment in the list that he would have stopped. Let's see the list. What could we have stopped? Well, if he had no sales in April and May, he didn't have to buy packing material, no sales, no packing material, and I suppose no consumables. So I would have used maybe packing material, and my reason would be no sales during this period. So again, you have to connect packing material, boxes, bags with sales. I think that's the end of this question. Let's see. Oh no, 4.5, one more. Question 4.5. No. Advantage. Refer to information. Oh, here we go. There we go. There we go. Ray Rennie, the owner, requires help in making a financial decision. He's undecided as to whether he should lease or buy a vehicle. His two options are X and Y. Apart from generating more sales or having the use of the vehicle, state two advantages of each opinion. I'm just going to show you the memo because I'm going to try in the last 10 minutes to do the last question. So if I show you the memo of 4.5, lease or buy. If you choose buy the vehicle, the advantages would be you own it. In the long run, you will be more productive. I would prefer this one. I'm going to choose one. Where's my highlighter? If you own your own asset, you are not so reliant on public transport. And also maybe your repayments is lower than lease charges. When you lease a vehicle, yes, it's fine, but then you've got to compare the costs. If, however, you lease or hire or rent the vehicle, then the advantage would be definitely we don't have to do the repairs or maintenance or service. They do it. That's a big thing. And also, we don't need to insure the vehicle. They do that. So you can read through the memo yourself when you have time. I'm putting this packet away. We have got one more question, which is fixed assets, Eastern Cape, June. I'm just quickly checking my phone if anyone is asking anything about on the group. No? Right. Eastern Cape, June. Last question. Oh, there's the question. And there's the answer page. It's 2.3.1. Proven traders, 30 April 20, end of the financial year. Calculate the cost of the additional garage that was built. It's for 1 mark only, so that is extremely easy. New amount minus old amount. The amount there is 2266,000 on land and buildings minus the old amount gives me the cost of the new garage. 2266,000 minus 1966,000. It's a 300. It's a 300,000 rand garage. Second question. And please, can I remind you that fixed assets is also paper 2. And you know that in paper 1, they didn't ask anything on fixed assets. So you must please expect fixed assets in paper 2. Don't forget about fixed assets. Calculate the balance of accumulated on equipment at the end of the year. You don't need to show the account. That's unless you like the account, although they're asking it afterwards. So let's see for 5 marks how fast we can do this. Equipment, they give me the opening balance, 1,320,000. So I'm writing down the opening balance because that's already a mark. Okay. Then I'm getting information for equipment. Equipment 20% on cost. No more information. Watch out for cost price, because if you're going to take your equipment which stayed at 1,440,000 and you're going to say 1,440,000 cost price at 20%, for a full year, you're going to get 288,000 rand. Watch out for the residual value effect, because last year end, the value of equipment was, I'm going to write it down, 1,440,000 minus 1,320,000. That gives you a value of 1,440 minus 1,320 equals 120,000 rand. Now you cannot write off that amount if that's the value. So the depreciation can only be 199,999 rand. Okay? So if I write that off, therefore, okay, I'm doing it my way, but you can do it many other ways. You will stop at a 1 rand residual value, but they're asking me the accumulated. So this asset is basically written off at this year end, which means if the cost price is 1,440,000, you can only stop at 1,439,999. That's your answer. Okay? Or in the margin, the accumulated was given to me as 1,320,000, and the only amount I could write off is 99,999. And that gives you the same answer, 1,439,999. Okay. I'm doing something wrong here. I know I'm doing something wrong. 199. There we go. Okay. Next question for 10 marks. Draw up the ledger, and for 8 marks, draw up this ledger. We have 7 minutes. This is something which you don't see very often, but please, nobody said the ledgers are out of the syllabus. So I'm going to I have to do this very quickly, but the format is fixed. And if you have your format written out before you start, then you are doing this much faster. You always start accumulated with a balance on the credit side. Then you write off depreciation on the assets sold. Then you remove the total and take it there. So you take the new accumulated to asset disposal, which means over here you're going to write accumulated depreciation on vehicles. Then you go back at the end of the year and you write off more depreciation on your remaining assets. There's a message from the group, so I must just see if it's something I need to know. Oh, it's somebody is looking for a memorandum. Please, guys, help one another when you need memos. So now we go and say, after this, I have the new balance. There's my format done. The balance is given in the information as 192,000 Rand. I'm just going to show you this because I need to do it very fast. And then here I can get marks for knowing that the cost price of the vehicle sold goes there, that the vehicle that was traded in for 460,000 Rand. And if it's traded in, we write creditors control. The alternative would be bank or debtors control, but this is creditors control. And that the difference will be a profit or loss on sale of asset. Let's go to the information. As you can see, I've already used the 192. If it says at the beginning of the year, he only had one vehicle. And on 31 January, this vehicle was traded in. Then that is the vehicle. So he obviously started with a one vehicle. He got rid of that vehicle. Why did he end with 520? Because then he bought the new vehicle. So let's go here and at least, because time's up, almost get the mark for the cost price. That means that this accumulated here is on that vehicle because it was my only vehicle, which means I can know that I must just get a little bit more depreciation. The method is diminished balance method, which is cost price of this one vehicle minus its accumulated at the start of the year, close your brackets, times, it says on the question paper, 20%. And when did I trade it in? I traded it in on 31 January. And if my year end is April, then 31 January compared to 30 April and 1 May, after January comes February, March, April, that's 3 months. So in other words, for 9 months, I still use this vehicle. And this is the January 31 depreciation. That was May the 1st. Let's calculate. 720,000 minus 192,000 equals times 0.2 times 9/12. I get an amount of 79,200. And now I can finish asset disposal because this whole vehicle is now removed. And 79,200 plus 192,000 means the total amount is removed down here, 27, sorry about the speed, just sit and listen if you can still. And how do we close off an asset disposal account, January 31 of 2020? We take the two sides, 6, 730, that side's bigger. 271,200 plus 460,000, that's 731,200, and the difference between the two means that I made a profit of 11,200. So that is the difference, and it is called profit on sale of asset. And the only thing, and that's at least 8 marks, but the only thing that remains up here, and I wonder if I'm going to be allowed to just finish that, otherwise please interrupt me if I must stop, is that my new, it's actually quite easy, my new vehicle cost me 520,000 and it's 20%, and I bought it on the same day that the trade-in happened, 31 January, so I've now had it for just 3 months. Times 3 over 12, I'm going to just quickly finish. 520,000 at 20% for 3 over 12, that's 26,000 Rand. And at this point, as long as you have an amount in there, even if you're wrong, please finish. 192,000 plus 79,200 plus 26,000 equals the totals. Totals don't give you marks. You must go on and get the balance. And if I now minus 271,200, I get the final balance, and that is 2 more marks, except I need to write April 30 and 2020, January 31 and April 30. Wow, thank you everyone for sticking with me, because this was tiring for everyone, but I really, really wish you only the best. Do not, if you doubt if you want to continue working. Take a break, eat, back to the working table, and good luck everybody. Okay, I'll say bye and wish you only the best for Wednesday. Ask for help when you need it.
Good day, ma'am. Are we done with the session?
Yes, thank you very much. We are done. And I'm sure everyone still has my number. Please contact me for help on my WhatsApp. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Have a nice day further and weekend, and strongs for the rest of the year.
Thank you for all of you as well. And I really hope somebody's still going to ask for help. And please work, work, work. Bye-bye.